Well, that's not good. Yeah, we're gonna need another science teacher. When you find a dead body in the closet, call pre-cal.
We'll take this thermometer and measure the temperature. Oh.
1 hour later.
The body seems to be losing rapid heat. We need to do some math to figure out the culprit. To find out when Miss Hanover was killed, we used Moon's law of cooling through math. So with V, we have the body temperature, and C, we have random constants, and to the E power, we have K and T, which we'll solve for, this is the time. Plus the surrounding temperature, which is 76 degrees. Okay. All right, to find C, we first need to plug in the values that we already have, which was the initial temperature, which we measured, which was 89.77 degrees. And we plug in the time after the body was found, which in this case would be 0, which was right after we measured the temperature, and the surrounding temperature of the room, which was 76 degrees. And e to the power of k0 would equal 1, so figuring out c would just be 89.77 minus 76. So we can figure out c, which is 13.77. Now we also have to find k. So 1 hour and 15 minutes after the body was found, we measured the temperature of the body, which was 86.91 degrees. And we plug in c, which we found up here, plus to the power of 1.25k, which is the time after the body was found, and add the surrounding temperature, which is 76 degrees. And then if we minus 76 on this side and divide by 13.77, we figure out that 0.79 equals e to the power of 1.25k. And using natural logarithms, we can find out ln 0.79 equals 1.25k. And if we math that, k equals negative 0.186. Alright, now we can figure out the time when the murder occurred, assuming that the temperature was 98.6 degrees, which is the average body temperature. Alright, so if we plug everything in that we found so far, which is 98.6 degrees and 13.77 from C, and negative 0.186 for K, and 76 degrees for the surrounding temp, we can figure out T. Alright, so if we minus 76 on both sides and divide by 13.77, we figure out that 1.64 equals e to the power of negative 0.186t. And using natural logarithms again, we figure out ln equals 1.64 equals negative 0.186t. And by calculating that, t equals negative 2.66, which in time measurements would be 2 hours and 40 minutes before the body temperature was initially measured at 8 a.m. when Hanover was found. Yes. So 2 hours and 40 minutes before 8 a.m. would be 5:20, which would be when the body was murdered.
We need to get some alibis.
Where were you last night from 4 to 6 p.m.? So at about 4 o'clock, I took my Lamborghini to go get an oil change.
Okay.
And then following that, I went to go get my Labradoodle shampooed and dyed green. Yes.
Yeah. Naturally.
And then I went to go visit with my fiance Zac Efron for a few hours.
Yeah.
And then following that, I went to go pick up the dog and then get my car.
Okay.
Shop.
Yeah. All right. We'll check that out then.
Okay.
Excuse me, Sean, do you have a moment of your time? Sir, I do. I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Go ahead.
Between 6 and 8 p.m., what were you doing yesterday?
I was at SAT, getting tutored, trying to get a 1400.
Is that all? Anything else you want to add to that time?
Well, John, the reason why I'm asking you all this is because there was a murder yesterday.
Who?
Miss Hanover.
Who would have killed Miss Hanover?
I don't know. But if your alibi's true, we'll see what's up. Thank you for your time.
We're here to interrogate Coach Strohmeyer.
What's up? What's up? I need you to sit down, Nicholas. So, I gotta tell you something. Miss Hanover's been murdered.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know, it's very tough. We're just gonna ask you a few questions, and then you can go on your very merry way back to class. So, were you ever alone last night?
About 8 to 10.
What were you doing in that time?
I was watching film. I ready for next season.
Anything in particular?
I'm watching a little bit of the Ember game. Remember the Ember game?
Yeah,
It's a great movie. Yeah, watching it, see what we could do better, make some improvements.
It's very true. Anything else to add?
I mean, that's a shame. Amber's a great person. It's a shame that happened to her.
All right. Thank you for your time. All right, we're gonna go investigate Mr. Finley. Hey, Mr. Finley.
Hey, how's it going?
Not good.
Not good. Why not?
Well, for starters, there's been a murder, as you know. We found Miss Hanover dead in the closet.
Yeah, that was a terrible loss.
So, I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Sure, go ahead.
What were you doing last night?
Last night,
Yeah.
I snuck into Miramont driving range and was hitting some golf balls.
At what time were you doing this?
You're not gonna tell him, are you? Because it was
No.
about like
No,
10
this
to-
is
it was
completely
about
fine. This-
10 to midnight.
10 to midnight. It's a really dark time to go hit golf balls.
Yeah.
You think you could really see anything?
And they were glow in the dark. It was fantastic.
Well, okay. Take your word on it.
Okay, we're on the scene and we're gonna interview Miss Lee and see if she has an alibi. Can we interview you? There's been a crime.
A crime? Yes, of course.
So, where were you last night from the hours of midnight to 2 a.m.?
Well, ordinarily I would be sleeping at this particular time because you know I go to bed around 9 o'clock. As I recall, Nancy Pham came over. She was saying goodbye to me around 10 o'clock, and she left her new cat with us, her cat with us. She was about to go to Vietnam, so we were saying goodbye. So I got to bed a little later than usual. However, I was a little perturbed because Mr. Binks, our feral kitty, he hadn't come for dinner, so I was very upset about this.
Yes.
You can imagine.
Obviously, of
You
course,
know how I
of
love
course.
the ferals.
Right.
So anyway, I heard a cat fight around, I don't know, it's like around midnight. I'd been asleep for a while. So I make my way downstairs, it's dark. I don't turn on the lights because I don't want all the other cats to be up.
Right.
Well, then I get outside and C2, which is the orange big kitty from the back. He's attacking feral kitties,
Right.
which of course made me angry. So I got the BB gun because I was going to just pretend to shoot it, you know, so the orange cat would leave. Well, you know, if you thought I had any trace of guns or anything,
Right.
it was from the BB gun. That's all it was.
Okay. I see.
So anyway, I shot it, and the orange kitty went, but Mr. Binks was perturbed, so and it was all wet, and I'm not quite sure what happened. So I cleaned him off, you know, and then I got food for him and fresh water. It was actually still quite warm out. And then I went to the shed where they usually stay, and I took out their blankets, and I figured I'm already up, I might as well wash their blankets.
Right.
So I washed those too, and by the time I got them settled, it was around maybe 2:30 in the morning, and then I just went back to bed. Woody didn't know I was gone.
You didn't.
No.
So you were alone at this time.
I was with the cats.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm not really alone when I'm with cats, so.
So that's what you were doing from midnight to 2:30.
Yes, as I recall.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Always a pleasure.
Hi, Miss Wood.
Hey, Eli.
I'm here with the Precal Detective Agency today, and I want to ask you a few questions about a recent murder in Miss Hanover.
Okay.
So, at any time late last night or early yesterday morning, were you alone by yourself?
Yes.
Okay, from what times were you alone and by yourself?
From about 1 o'clock until about 3 or 3:30.
Okay, so what exactly were you doing then?
Well, we had a slumber party at my house with the 8th grade girls, and I woke up to find out that they had snuck out of the house. So I jumped in my car and drove around to all of the city parks and anywhere that I thought they might be until about 3. And then when I returned home, they had gotten back from wherever they had been to. We had a big meeting.
All right. Any other thing else to add?
That's it.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're here with Miss Lee, who is another suspect of the murder of Miss Stephanie Hanover, which occurred last night, and we want to know what you were doing from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Well, of course I was painting my house because it's cooler than.
That's what you were doing
Yes, it was.
from 3 to 4 a.m.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Kendall, where were you between the hours of 5 and 7 a.m.?
Oh, well, I had morning practice that morning, so I left the house pretty early. I didn't end up getting there because I had a flat tire.
Oh, that sucks. Did you have morning practice?
I did, but I didn't end up going.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's what we've
So
got.
after collecting all of our data from our interviews, we've come to the conclusion that since Miss Hanover died at 5:20 a.m. and the only alibi that rests within that time from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. is Kendall Hanover. So, we're going to arrest her right now.
Now we're going to go arrest the culprit.
Kendall Hanover, can you stand up, please? You're under arrest for the murder of Miss Hanover.
You have the right to remain silent.
Anything you say or will say can be used against you in the court of law.